99% of guys at the range think you need to drop 5,000 bucks on a custom action just to ring steel past 1,000 yards. They listen to sponsored forum snobs, and it costs them a massive fortune for performance they could get right out of a cardboard box. Listen, you probably think you know what a budget factory rifle looks like in 2026, but you have absolutely no idea. If you walked the floor at SHOT Show recently, you already know the era of cheap plastic stocks and mushy triggers is completely dead. Right now, the raw engineering rolling off the mass production lines is absolutely terrifying the custom gunsmiths. We are talking about heavy contour barrels and precision chassis systems on platforms that will barely touch a credit card limit. Here's the deal. The landscape has shifted. Whether you're hauling gear into the backcountry or setting up cameras to put a tack driver on film for a full scoper 360 view, underestimating these budget setups is a rookie mistake. Stop letting the gear snobs lie to your face. The new hook is locked in. Let me know if you want to run with this one. Starting things off at number 7, we have the CVA Cascade Long Range Hunter. Now, most guys hear CVA and immediately think of muzzle loaders for late-season whitetail. But here's the truth. They're stepping into the precision centerfire game with a massive unfair advantage. Under the hood, CVA is owned by the same parent company as Bergara. That means you're getting a Bergara-sourced button-rifled barrel on a budget platform. Let me explain why that matters. Instead of a standard profile, it uses a heavy contour number 5 barrel with deep fluting, which drastically increases the surface area to shed heat when you're sending rounds downrange back-to-back. Slings 6.5 PRC or 300 PRC downrange with absolute authority. Factory radio brakes come standard on these tubes. Because of that brake, the recoil feels like a polite shove rather than a heavy punch to the shoulder. Stepping up to the firing line, the single-stage trigger breaks like a frozen icicle snapping in half. I saw a guy at the range recently taking this exact setup past 1,000 yards using off-the-shelf factory ammo without breaking a sweat. Street price sets you back around 879 bucks. Look, I know what you're thinking. Is it perfect? Honestly, no. The deal breaker for some guys is going to be the factory polymer stock finish. The camouflage dip looks great, but it wears extremely slick if your hands are sweating in the summer heat, making it tough to get a rock-solid grip when you're under pressure. Even so, it's a tack driver that won't drain your wallet.
Stepping up the game to number 6, we have the Winchester XPR Long Range. Listen, this is the sleeper hit of the year. I took one of these out into the backcountry last fall, and it just shrugged off the dirt and freezing rain like it was nothing. Built like an absolute tank, this rifle is a rugged workhorse that does not care about looking pretty. Weighing in at roughly 8.5 pounds empty, it has enough mass to stabilize your shot in heavy crosswinds. Feeds on 6.5 Creedmoor and 308 Winchester without a single hiccup. Pushing those heavy rounds past 800 yards, the recoil is surprisingly tame, hitting your shoulder like a firm, steady push rather than an angry mule kick. It is a very polite gun to shoot off a barricade or a bipod. Digging into the action, it uses a massive 3-lug bolt machined from solid steel bar stock. This geometry gives you a short 60-degree bolt lift. The reason this matters is pure operational speed. That tight 60-degree throw means your hand easily clears the massive objective lenses on premium optics like a Night Force or a Leupold. This lets you cycle the action aggressively without smashing your knuckles or pulling your eye away from the target area. Under the hood, they use their proprietary MOA trigger system. Pulling it feels like snapping a fresh carrot right in half, with zero nasty overtrail to throw off your aim. I know the fanboys will hate this, but it simply outshoots platforms that cost significantly more. Sound off below if you trust this rig in the wet brush. But let's be real, there is a catch. The deal breaker here falls into the financial category regarding aftermarket support. If you want to drop this action into a high-end custom aluminum chassis down the line, finding one that fits the unique XPR footprint will absolutely drain your wallet and test your patience compared to a standard footprint. Still, the damage to your wallet for the base rifle is only around $850.
Now we get serious with number 5, the Savage 110 Core Tactical. I saw a guy at the range struggling to hit steel at 600 yards with a $4,000 custom rig, while his buddy right next to him was ringing it consistently with this exact factory Savage. Heavy and relentless, this rifle tips the scales at almost 10 pounds empty. Eats 6.5 Creedmoor for breakfast all day long without breaking a sweat. Sending rounds down range, the recoil is completely soaked up by that heavy profile barrel, feeling more like a dull thud against a thick sandbag rather than a sharp punch. Under the hood, it features a floating bolt head mechanism. This means the face of the bolt actually shifts and self-centers as it locks into the chamber, guaranteeing absolute 100% contact on both locking lugs. That floating action eliminates the macroscopic alignment errors that plague cheaper rigid bolts, ensuring your bullet seats perfectly every single time. Squeezing the famous AccuTrigger, it breaks as crisp as stepping on dry autumn leaves. This is solid, but wait until you see the monster at number 1. It completely redefines what a factory rifle can do. Street price is sitting right around $1,100. Here's the deal. There is a massive ergonomic annoyance. The safety blade built into the trigger shoe demands absolute perfection. If you're wearing thick winter gloves or pull the trigger at a slight angle during a fast stage, the safety blade will bind up and lock the sear, giving you a dead trigger right when you need to send it down range. Despite that quirk, it remains a serious piece of precision hardware. Pushing deeper into the heavy hitters at number 4, we have the Mossberg Patriot LR Tactical. Most guys know Mossberg for pumping out combat shotguns that served all the way back to Vietnam, but they decided to crash the precision centerfire party. Honestly, they brought some serious heat to the table with this setup. Looking at the stock, they partnered with MDT to run a custom aluminum V-block bedding system. Instead of just resting the action in a cheap plastic channel, this V-block physically clamps the solid steel receiver down into a perfectly machined aluminum cradle. That rigid metal-on-metal connection means the action cannot flex under heavy torque, leaving the medium bull barrel completely free-floated so your bullet harmonics stay dead consistent on every single shot. It absolutely neutralizes the target without breaking a sweat. Weighing right around 9 pounds empty, it sits directly in the sweet spot for a hybrid range and hunting platform. Slings 6.5 Creedmoor down range with incredible consistency. Pressing the LBA trigger blade, the break snaps like a dry wishbone. Soaking up the blast, the recoil hits your shoulder like catching a heavy medicine ball, firm but completely manageable for spotting your own impacts. The damage to your wallet is roughly $900 at the counter. But let's be real about the downside. The deal breaker here is a mechanical performance quirk. While the fluted bolt runs dirty without jamming, when you rip it all the way to the rear, there is a noticeable amount of sloppy play in the raceways. It gets the next round into the chamber, but it lacks that glassy premium glide when you are under the clock.
Entering the elite tier at number 3, we have the Ruger American Gen 2 Predator. Listen, this rig is rugged and completely redesigned, tipping the scales right around 7 pounds. It absolutely devours 6.5 Creedmoor and runs flawlessly using standard AICS pattern magazines right out of the box. Under the hood, Ruger relies on their proprietary power bedding system.
cast stainless steel blocks are molded directly into the polymer, physically interlocking with the receiver. This guarantees the barrel stays completely free-floating, so your harmonics are never ruined by heavy bipod pressure. Squeezing the Marksman adjustable trigger breaks surprisingly clean. Sending rounds downrange, the recoil does jump a bit like a startled buck because the rifle is so light. Expect to drop roughly $769 for this setup. Now, here is the deal breaker. The spiral fluted barrel looks incredible with that burnt bronze Cerakote, but the factory stock finish wears off way too fast if you drag it through thick brush. Even with that cosmetic annoyance, it remains an absolute tack driver in the field.
Closer to the crown at number 2, we have the Tikka T3X compact tactical rifle. I watched a guy at a local precision match run this exact action, and it cycled so fast I thought he was shooting a semi-auto. Smooth and unbelievably refined, this Finnish import redefines what a factory bolt should feel like. It tips the scales right at 8 pounds out of the box, eats 308 Winchester for breakfast and asks for more. Looking under the hood, Tikka upgraded this receiver with a massive steel recoil lug embedded in the polymer stock. Unlike the older aluminum lugs that would deform over time, this hardened steel block mates perfectly with the machined receiver slot. This guarantees your action never shifts or flexes during heavy firing schedules, locking your zero in under extreme abuse. Pressing the single-stage trigger, it breaks like a crisp piece of celery. Sending those heavy match rounds downrange, the recoil pushes back like a heavy ocean wave, keeping you right on target to spot your own trace. Set you back roughly $1,100. Look, I know you want this, but here's the deal breaker. The proprietary factory magazines fall strictly into the financial annoyance category. While they feed flawlessly, buying spare mags will absolutely drain your wallet compared to running standard AICS patterns. Even with that premium tax, it is an absolute tack driver that commands respect.
Taking the absolute crown at number 1, we have the Bergara B14 HMR. I was out in the high desert last month and watched a guy print a half-inch group at 100 yards with factory ammo, completely humiliating a guy running a $4,000 custom build right next to him. Look, this platform completely dominates the hybrid rifle category. It gives you the glassy, refined bolt throw of the Tikka at number 2, but with the undeniable rugged versatility of the Ruger at number 3. Heavy and perfectly balanced, it tips the scales right around 9.5 pounds before you even mount an optic. Eat 6.5 Creedmoor and 308 Winchester for lunch. Digging into the engineering, it utilizes a full-length aluminum mini chassis molded directly inside the polymer stock. This solid metal backbone runs from the grip all the way through the forend, ensuring the action never flexes under the torque of a heavy bipod. Because of this rigid connection, your heavy contour barrel remains completely free-floated, guaranteeing perfect bullet height every single time you send it down range. Speaking of which, pressing the factory trigger, it breaks like a thin sheet of winter ice. Soaking up that terminal performance, the recoil hits your shoulder like a slow, controlled shove, allowing you to stay perfectly on target and watch your own trace through the glass. Expect to drop roughly $1,100 at the counter for this masterpiece. Because it's built on a direct clone of the legendary Remington 700 footprint, you have unlimited access to the largest aftermarket ecosystem on the planet. If you want to drop it into a new chassis or upgrade the trigger down the road, you can do it without spending custom shop money. That is exactly why it takes the throne.
There you have it. 7 factory precision rifles that prove you do not need to completely drain your bank account just to hit targets in another zip code. Look, gear is absolutely important, and getting the right action and barrel twist will set you up for success. But a $3,000 optic and a custom chassis will never replace actual trigger time behind the gun. Get out to the range,
Learn how to read the wind and figure out what your chosen setup is actually capable of doing in the real world. Stop making excuses about not having the budget for a custom rig. Pick up one of these factory tack drivers, mount some quality glass, and get to work. If you want the raw truth without the fluff, lock it in right here.